Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ken, and today I gotta talk to you about the three biggest mistakes that 95% of nonfiction authors make when they're writing books, and this is why they fail. Hey, I'm Ken. I used to be a homicide detective. I was a cop for over 15 years, and I got sick of it. When I found out I was going to become a dad, I needed to make a change. In the last 15 years, I've started 4 different businesses in 4 different industries, and they've made a lot of money. This channel is dedicated to showing people exactly how to build an 8-figure coaching business. Every single part of it. I love teaching people how to write books, how to get your books traditionally published, how to turn those books into 7-figure coaching businesses, and you're going to find all that information right here. All right, glad to have you guys back. Been a couple days, been a minute since we've had a chance to talk. As you guys know, I freaking love books. I love helping authors to write books. I've been doing it for over 18 years, and I specialize in nonfiction books. And more importantly, I specialize in helping people to write nonfiction books and then taking those books and turning them into 6 or 7-figure coaching businesses. And I will go toe-to-toe with anybody in a debate about why it's important to start with a book. There are tons of gurus out there that are trying to convince you that they're the best expert in the world on building an online coaching business. And they've got all kinds of reasons and little hooks and signals and ways that they think you should build a business, and they want you to spend their money or spend your money on their high ticket programs. But the fact of the matter is, there are more people than ever getting involved in coaching businesses online. There are more people than ever that are launching coaching business or trying to, and getting into this new help economy that's emerging. The challenge for most people is they're just getting into coaching. And so they don't really have any experience in how to build a coaching business and how to serve their clients. And most of them end up spinning their wheels and doing the exact same thing. They start posting on their personal page on Facebook or on their Instagram feed and, throwing up over everybody. Without really planning out or strategizing about how they should build that business. And my opinion is, flat out, writing a book is probably the best first move anybody could ever make in building a coaching business. Now, before you start rolling your eyes, I'm not going to devote this training to trying to prove that to you. What I want to do instead is prove to you how much I really know about writing books, because I guarantee you're thinking about it. Or you've thought about it in the past, or you're going to do it, or more importantly, you've probably tried to do it already, and some of you watching this video will probably be the people that failed, and this will be like an enlightenment for you. And so I want to talk to you about like the 3 biggest reasons that people fail when they try to write books, or why the books fail. And listen, it's not hyperbole that 95% of books fail every year. You can check it out yourself. If you go to Google and search the word Bowker, Bowker. This is a research agency in the United States. And what they do is they research everything that has to do with book sales. And many, many times, I think more than 10 times over the last 2 decades, Bowker has done surveys of millions of people that buy books. You see, there is an ugly, dirty little secret in the book publishing industry, and that is that 90% of nonfiction books never sell 100 copies. And when I first heard that statistic back in 2008, I was baffled by it. I couldn't, for my sake, I couldn't think, I couldn't understand how this could happen intentionally, right? Like anybody who goes through the trouble of writing and publishing a book, I guarantee you there are not any of them that are saying, oh yeah, I'm going to write a book, but I want it to fail. Never sell 100 copies. Could you freaking imagine that? So back in 2014, I started doing research and trying to figure out why books were failing and why books weren't selling and why so many people were writing books and they were failing. And there's a couple things that I found out. We actually surveyed over 100,000 people that had written books. And we asked them many questions in the survey, trying to dig deeper into the answer. And one of the biggest things that we found in the surveys, we asked people a lot of questions, and buried deep in the middle of the question, we asked people, how many books do you read a year on the subject? And most people who responded, they said one or two. And so we took that data and we went back and we sent out another survey just to those people that said one or two. And you know what we found? 85% of the people that responded actually admitted that they don't consider themselves readers and they don't read books, but yet they were writing a book. Like, doesn't that seem bizarre to you? Doesn't that seem like completely confusing? How in the world could somebody write a book if they don't even know what a good book looks like? Friends, this is why most books fail. So let me kind of paint a picture for you. Every year, if you think about that, there are 500,000 nonfiction books published, and 90% of them never sell 100 copies. So that's 400,000. No, I'm sorry, that's 450,000 books that fail every year. So that's 500,000 people who fail every year. 85% of those people aren't readers, so they don't know what a good book is written like. So we started realizing that probably the biggest reason that most people failed is that they just didn't know what a good book looked like. They had no experience reading books, so they wouldn't know good from bad. So then I started asking myself, well, how are they writing the books then? Like, what is there a common trait in the way books are written? So I got 20 people that worked for me at the time to go out and start studying books. I got 10 of them to study books that succeeded. And we studied 100 New York Times bestselling books that year that were on the New York Times list that were nonfiction self-help books. Then we went out and we studied 100 books that failed and never sold 100 copies. You know what we found? The books that succeeded, all of the New York Times bestselling books, were written exactly the same way. They were written logically. I mean, think about it this way. It's like you're writing the book for a person who has a problem, because that's what you're doing, and you're offering them help to fix the problem. Well, if you want to write a book so that it's going to win, the way that the New York Times bestselling books were written, they were written like problem-oriented. It's almost like you said, okay, John, I'm going to help you fix this problem. And whatever it is, it could be weight loss, could be building a business, could be relationship, whatever it is. And if you're going to fix this problem, here's the steps you need to use, or the steps you need to take to fix this problem. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Step 4, do this. Step, and you'll fix the problem. That's the way they were written. See, those steps in logically fixing the problem were the chapters in the book. You know what we found in the books that failed? They were written autobiographically. They were written the way the thing happened to them. And so what I believe really happened is that all those authors that failed, the reason that they wrote books is they fixed a problem in their lives. And because they fixed that problem, it made a big impact. And their friends and family and people around them started realizing, oh my God, something's happened to you. And they'd ask, what's new? You look great. What's new? What's the difference? And that would cause the author to tell the story, or the person to tell the story. They weren't authors yet. And so they'd tell the story, and then halfway through the story, the person who asked the question was like, oh God, is he going to ramble all day about this? I mean, the author obviously is excited that somebody's asking, and it was a big traumatic thing in their life, so they're happy to tell the story. But now the person asking the question regrets asking the question. They're trying to get them to shut up. So what do they say? Oh my God, that's amazing. You should write a book. Now, the person hears that so many times that they're convinced, man, I got to write a book. Everybody's telling me to write a book. What they don't realize is that the person that was hearing the story was actually saying, I wish you'd just friggin' shut up. Why don't you go write a book instead? So the person hears that so many times, and coupled with the fact that they don't actually read books, they write the book the way they told the story, chronologically, the way it happened to them. And that's why they fail. When we went out and researched people that read bad books, you know what they said? I got bored of reading the book because all they were doing was rambling on about themselves. So mistake number 1, they write the books chronologically, the way it happened to them. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Write the book logically. Figure out what the problem is first. What are the steps in solving the problem? Write them out. The steps become the chapters. And then what you put in each chapter goes to number 2. When we looked at all the books that failed, what we found is the authors were just writing meandering stories of their life. They weren't focusing it around the information to serve people. And more importantly than that, All of those New York Times best-selling books that succeeded, that did the best in the world, they had validating proof in the books. When we looked at the books, what did we find? We found stories that they told of other people that had succeeded and fixed the same problem. We found these authors wrote stories of people that they had helped before to validate the teaching. It's called proof. And every New York Times best-selling book has proof in it. The second mistake that most authors make is they don't put any proof in their books. They just write these boring stories of their life, and people get bored with them and they don't want to read. I have a program. It's called the Writing Madly Challenge. I have helped over 3,000 authors write books. I start off by teaching people how to structure their books properly. Takes about 30 minutes. And then there's this amazing online platform that you log in once a day. You've got your outline of your book figured out because you followed my system. You know exactly what each chapter is. You know what the 3 most important things that you're going to write in each chapter are. Then you log into this writing platform once a day and you type for 10 minutes. And you do that every day for 30 days and you write the first draft of your book. You know what's amazing? 90% of the people that use this system to write their books end up selling at least 1,000 copies in the first month. Why? It's because of another piece of research that Bowker did. Bowker went out in 2018 and interviewed, basically sent a survey out to over 1 million nonfiction book readers. And they asked them, what makes you buy a book? 60% of them say, I buy my books because my friends recommend them. So if you think about that, bad books that are written horribly and nobody reads, like chronologically ordered books, they'll never get recommended because they won't be read. So that means the books, the people that are recommending books, it's because they're written properly, because they have that social proof in them. So you got to have proof in your books. That's the mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, the final mistake, probably the biggest mistake. If you write your book using my system, the Writing Madly system, all you have to do is click on the link in the notes and you can check it out. There's hundreds of testimonials on that page. The whole system is laid out. You know the best part? It's only $97. It's a joke. Because I want to help people write amazing books. I want to break the trend. And another thing I'm going to help you to avoid doing is the title. The most important part of a book is hands down the title of that book. Why? Because if you use our system to write your book, then I will publish it for you. I own a traditional publishing company called Helping People Press. And if you use our system to write your book, we will offer you a publishing contract. All you have to do, when you sign up, after you sign up, you pay $97 to use the Writing Madly Challenge. Check it out. If you decide to sign up for it, we're going to give you a free 60-minute onboarding call where one of my coaches is going to help you to figure out what the chapters of your book are and what's the order of them. But they're also going to tell you about how you can get a traditional publishing contract with us by writing your book with us. The third mistake that authors make is the title of the book. The title of your book, if you want it to win, has to solve the problem, or it has to give people the belief that the problem will be solved if they write the book. Great titles have 2 parts to them, a concrete and an abstract. One of the greatest books that I've ever read, and I've built my whole business around, is a book that was written by my mentor, Mr. Nick Boothman. He's sold over 3 million copies of this book. It's called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. How to make people like you is the concrete problem that a lot of people are trying to solve. In 90 seconds or less is the abstract part. I'm writing a book right now. It's called Build Your Following in Less Than 30 Minutes a Day. That's what makes a great book title. It has the problem firmly stated and the solution right in the title. And friends, if you're going to take the time to write a book, then follow this freaking advice. Please follow this advice. Click on that link. Check out our Writing Madly 30-day challenge. Learn about how we can help you to avoid making all the mistakes, to write an amazing book, how to launch it, how to get it in bookstores, and how to get thousands of people buying and recommending your book. I hope this helps. Tune in soon for the next video. Check out the Writing Madly challenge. The link is in the notes.